David Goggins is an author, speaker, retired Navy SEAL, and is one of the greatest endurance athletes in the world who is named a hero of running by Runner's World. He went from growing up in an abusive household and struggling with asthma, racism, and obesity, to becoming a Navy SEAL, owning the world record for the most pull-ups done in 24 hours, and becoming one of the world's highest paid public speakers. Need motivation?
Watch Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, David Goggins, and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Find the next climb.
When you get to where you want to go in life, when you finally get there, you finally reach that point, and you're there, and you're happy as hell, realize this: you're not there yet. When you get that feeling that you arrived, be afraid.
Right.
Be truly afraid, because now you start to do this.
Slowly die.
Slowly die. Either you're getting better or you're getting worse. You're not staying the same.
Yeah.
So when you get to where you think the journey is ended, and you're sitting back and you're like, I arrived, I'm on Mount Everest. I climbed 29,029.
Yeah.
The best thing to do is fall back down that damn mountain as fast as you can and start climbing.
Find the next climb.
Find the next climb.
Rule number 2, be real.
We all have these voices in our head. We like to not listen to them. The one that comforts us and keeps us nice and warm and cuddly and gives us cookies and milk at nighttime and shit. We like that voice. That voice is the one we want to always hear, which is why people don't like to listen to me a lot. Some people do, some people don't. The only thing that changes you is being real. So basically, you know, I had to have the courage to go back in it because nothing was getting done. I kept on going to that nice cuddly voice in my head saying, you know what? You don't need to do this. That's too much work, man. You've earned this. You deserve this. And that mentality got me to 297 pounds, fat, out of shape. To me, a loser. To me, making $1,000 a month and making a ton of mistakes. Because mistakes happen on the easy side of life. You take the easy road, the easy path, there's a lot of mistakes over there. The hard journey, you don't make too many mistakes over here because it's too hard. You don't want to repeat it.
Rule number 3, have no regrets.
My definition of greatness is this. It's not a definition, it's an example. This is greatness, true greatness. Let's say that I'm the greatest tennis player of all time. Okay? Let's say that. I hate tennis.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm the greatest tennis player of all time. And I did 22 years. I run all the Grand Slams. I beat Roger Federer. I am the best ever. And we're having an interview. And you're talking about my greatness, what I achieved. And I'm retired. Don't play tennis anymore. Haven't touched a racket in years. And you're making me go back through my life. You're kissing my butt about how great I am. And I'm answering your questions. Every question I'm answering it. I'm with you. But in the back of my mind, all I'm thinking about is all the times I could have won those matches that I lost by not bringing my best mindset. You're haunted by all the opportunities that you missed by not bringing your best at that time. When you could have won, but you didn't win because you allowed life to interfere with that one shot. When you're sitting there getting ready to serve for the match, and your mind is not thinking about where that ball placement needs to be, but it's thinking about your family this, or this at work, or that at work. That's greatness. Greatness is your recall on every single shot that you missed throughout a 20-some year career. Every shot, you can go back and say, I was here. this person was in the red shirt there. Greatness is being so aware of the time of life in the second that went by, and you can recall it like it was yesterday. Greatness is being able to go back there, not making that same mistake again, and being haunted by it. That is greatness.
Rule number 4, overcome yourself.
I realized that God wasn't going to give me a get out of jail free card. And from the time I was born and to the time I was 19 years old, my life had these hurdles. I constantly hit obstacles, obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. And I had to figure out how to manage suffering, how to deal with it, because it'd be part of my life forever. At least that's what I thought. So in order to deal with it, I had to be able to conquer it and overcome it and deal with it and know that in this suffering, there has to be some kind of growth. With every obstacle, I look at it as friction now. Without friction, there is no growth. You have to have friction in your life to grow. So I started looking at all these different things versus the woe is me mentality. Like, oh my God, look at my life. My life's so f***ed up. I come from this f***ed up family. I'm being beaten. I'm being abused mentally, physically. I started looking at it as the perfect trial ground. So I had to flip it upside down and say, okay, I'm suffering tremendously, mentally. Use this to your advantage versus your disadvantage. So that's what I did. Versus looking at it as like, oh my God, woe is me, I'm never gonna get out of here. I looked at it as, okay, hang on a second. If I can overcome this, if I can find some power in this, some way to get through this, that right there will be the fuel for the rest of my life. And so I found great strength in suffering. Great strength in it because why? Through all of that, it started to callous my mind over the victim's mentality. This whole thing about suffering, yeah, it sucks. Really bad. Really, really bad. But we all live on this side of suffering. On this side, this nice box that's very comfortable, that we know when everything's gonna happen. We're in it, it's good. We know how everything's gonna turn out. It's those few people who are willing to go on this side of suffering. And once they get through that, ask him how he feels now. His mind, how far he grew. In that short period of time, he grew so much more than the normal person because he was willing to go outside himself. Because on the other end of suffering is greatness. It's not over here. So a whole bunch of us, we put ourselves in this great box. And in that box, there's no suffering in it. So what we do is we shelter ourselves from greatness. So for me, for instance, I was 300 damn pounds at one time in my life. Sprayed for cockroaches, made $1,000 a month. I was living in that box. I would sometimes look over the box and I saw hell, suffering, storms, avalanches, tornadoes. I don't want to go over there, but I knew if I can get through that shit mentally, on the other side was a 185-pound person who's a Navy SEAL, went through Ranger School. Only person to do this, only person to do that, only person to do this. But that's through all of that shit. All that shit I have to go through. So you peek over the box and you go back in and say, oh, I'm okay being 300 pounds, making $1,000 a month. Right. I'm okay over here. And on the other side is where you start to really start your journey. People think they start their journey because they're born. No, there's a lot of people in graves who have lived 100 years and have never started their real journey. Your real journey starts when you go outside that box and you start climbing mountains and start climbing mountains. And you think you're at the top of the mountain, you go down the other side of it, think I'm here, and you look up, there's another mountain. And it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. And just when you're getting ready to quit, you crest that final mountain, you get down and you look, and there you are. And it starts to make sense to you then. It doesn't make sense to you until you get outside that box. I'll talk to so many people, and what I say is not for everybody. So many people don't have any clue on what the I'm saying because they're in this box, and it's their brain. You first must go through suffering to find that great peace we're all looking for. A lot of us want to have, there's a lot of books out there about this 5 steps. Do this, do this, do this, get there. No, man, it's not that easy. To find real, permanent peace, and enlightenment, you must go to the dark side of who you are. I could have easily just shoved my whole life under a rug and went straight to peace. Are you happy there? You overcame nothing. You jumped hell, you skipped hell, you forego this part of your life, you skip it and go right to peace. So you always have this thing back here that's haunting you, and that's that darkness. You must go into the darkness to truly find that light that you're looking for, because that's what's on the other side of that. People get it all wrong, man. You have to face suffering. You have to face this dark side, this darkness. And there's a lot of energy in there. There's a lot of goodness in there that you can use to find greatness. But you cannot find your peace you're looking for in yourself until you've overcome yourself.
Also, if you want to have more confidence and motivation, check out my 254 series where every day for the next 254 days, I'll send you an amazing video for free to your email to move your confidence forward. The links to sign up is in the description below.
You will never learn from people if we always tap dance around the truth. Everything I didn't want to do is what got me to where I'm at today. You can outwork anybody, no matter how badass they are.
Rule number 5, never pick the easy road.
The biggest one I would say is never pick the easy road. Never. Never. And it always goes back to kind of the hero mentality. Never pick the easy road. Ever in your life. That is the one road that is doom. It is doom. If you want something like 6-minute abs, all these different things, people want it so fast. You may achieve what you wanted, but you want the permanent fix. The permanent fix comes from the hard road. The hard road gives you permanent results. The easy road gives you the quick fix. You will go back to where you started on the easy route. That hard route is so permanent that it ends up callousing you everywhere. Everywhere.
You keep a six-pack forever.
You keep it.
You keep it.
Because you know the work that goes into it.
Yeah.
Rule number 6, be alone.
It's funny that you're sitting here saying that like things like public speaking you find hard when you've done all the crazy, insane stuff that you've done.
Because I do them alone.
Right.
I do them alone.
Yeah.
You know, like I pick these hard things that most people think you can't finish anyway. So, you know, you go out there, you grind, you're alone, you're in your own head. I work best alone.
Right.
I work best alone. So those are easier. You know, I figured out a way to kind of challenge your mind, channel it and challenge it at the same time. And I figured out a way to kind of just have an indestructible toolbox in your mind. So those are easier.
Rule number 7, become the practitioner of the mind.
I think that when you die, this is just my own mindset, that you arrive in line. It helps me to get past a lot of things. You arrive in line, and let's say you're in front, let's say you die right before me, and you're in line, and God's sitting there with the clipboard, okay? Sitting there with the clipboard, like me and you're sitting right now. He's looking at you, and he says, hey, you made it to heaven, good job, okay? And then he shows you the clipboard of what your life should have been. So you live this life that you thought you pushed so hard. Then you look at the clipboard. Let's say myself, this is now me, I'm talking about myself now. And let's say I got to heaven weighing 300 pounds. I was a guy that worked for Ecolab, which is a guy that kills cockroaches for a living, which is fine, it's a job. But then I look at this, and that's how I died. I look at this, and it says on here what I should have been, because God's all-knowing, right? I look at this, and it said you should have been 185 pounds, you should have broke Guinness Book of World Records, you should have been a Navy SEAL, you should have been this, you should have been that, you should have lived this great life, you should have been an inspiration, you should have inspired millions. And then you give the clipboard back to God. Let's say you lived 80 years on earth, and now you realize that you lived here being a shell of who the you should have been. So now you're in heaven. But are you really in heaven? Because now you see how much you left down there on earth. The root cause of the quitter isn't that you can't do 100 push-ups. You can train anybody to do that. The root cause of the quitter is when you get in hell, you can't process it. It's too much to process. Because your mind starts going back to the real reality of like, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough. It's not trained. So I started training this, realizing that the only thing that makes me quit not the muscle fatigue, it's the mental fatigue that makes me quit everything in life. So I became a practitioner of the mind. The mind's a very powerful thing. It has a tactical advantage over you all the time. It knows your fears, it knows your insecurities, it knows where you don't want to go. So it will guide you away from that. And that's why the mind will always win until you reprogram it. It will always win until you reprogram it. Because the mind controls you. Why is that? It's your mind. It's your mind. Because all those things that happen to you in your life, all those bad things, all those things that you blame other people for, they're now yours to own. You got to figure out a way to reprogram your mind to get outside the box.
Rule number 8, have courage.
I had a starting point. And the starting point was this very scared, immature, fragile kid. But through figuring out this fragile kid, I found out, well, through all this muck and this can come out the other end. A person that has 4,030 pull-ups, who runs miles and miles and miles at a time. But we all have these abilities, not just to run and do pull-ups, but these abilities that once we go back into our dark holes, that a lot of us have. A lot of us come from, insecurities, a lot of issues, but we don't want to visit that place. Place is scary. Place is something that we want to forget about. I had the courage, finally, to go back in there and organize that shit. Get it organized in my mind and figure out, where to start from. So, but the journey led me to the so-called superhuman stuff that I do now.
Rule number 9, armor your mind.
It's kind of cliche, but the first thing about it, man, is you can't ever hit the snooze button. You can't ever wake up in the morning time and hit the snooze button. So what that means is, a lot of people don't understand this, but life is going to get at you no matter what. You cannot escape the fact that life is brutal.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all life is brutal. I'm not trying to paint this horrible, disastrous picture of life. But I'm telling you, you're going to get those calls saying this person died. You're going to get those calls saying you lost your job. You're going to get those calls saying you don't have any money. You're going to get those calls saying you're sick. You're going to get those calls saying your husband, your wife, your niece, your nephew, your son, your daughter, something's going to happen bad.
Yeah.
That's just life. So what I developed is, I believe that you must start to armor your mind. And I talk about this in my book a lot, about armoring your mind in the morning. It starts with developing that self-structure. You have to do it yourself. Everything is self. Mm-hmm. You cannot count on team. In life, we always count on, maybe I can get put part of this big team and this trainer, and everybody's going to help me get going where I need to go. That's all good.
Yeah.
But there's going to be those times in life when there's no one around but yourself, and you got to hold yourself accountable for what you're doing. So getting back to putting the armor on top of yourself, for me, it starts off with feeling good about yourself. And that doesn't come from, for me, it's not about money, it's not about fame, it's not about any of that shit. It comes with the reflection in that mirror. So every morning I get up, it starts off with getting after it in the gym. Getting after it in the gym, running, all those things I do, all those disciplines.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is stop overthinking.
I get a lot of questions about how I lost so much weight. People want to know how they can get started. So basically, you're thinking too much off the bat. When I lost my weight, I didn't look for a trainer. I didn't do all that thinking. I didn't go on Jenny Craig. I didn't do all that shit. What I did was I basically stopped eating so much food. I cut my calories down. So as far as the workout goes, we overthink that also. Until you find a trainer, go out there and start walking. Put some shoes on, start running. Go to the gym, do the elliptical trainer. It's not rocket science. A lot of folks talk about overtraining. You gotta train first before you can overtrain. Sometimes you wake up in the morning time and you're sore and you feel like you're overtrained. No, you got sore legs. Get out of your own head and stop overthinking it.
Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy, but before that, if you're still here watching, I wanna celebrate you. If you commit to taking action after watching this video, we don't just watch videos, we do something about it. Give me a hashtag believe down in the comments as well.
the quickest way, go in the gym or exercise, whatever exercise you may want to do or not want to do, exercise is the key to it because it puts you right in that suffering zone. You get the most feedback from exercise. Exercise tells you, my God, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I don't feel like doing this. But if you keep on pushing through exercise, keep on pushing through that physical training, that feedback is immediate to your brain, telling yourself, I won. It's immediate victory. And those victories, those small victories, are what we're looking for all through the day. And those small victories help us attack life.
If you want 10 more awesome rules from David Goggins, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Every morning, without fail, the first thing I do is I run. Without fail. I haven't missed a day of running since 2016. Okay? So I get up, I do that,